Hello, friends. Welcome to Astro Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with our talented light workers and the innovative influencers of our time. And tonight I'm really happy to present that we're going to bring together the Sirius Joy family. We just wrapped up Unite the Light, year 2, where we came together as a team to present innovative light workers, this year musicians, which was fascinating, and Unite the Music, and also the talents of our team and the talents of other light workers. It was an incredible weekend. And tonight I want to show you the team behind the magic. It's not ever one person. It's always a multiple amount of people that do this. And you'll see right away when you introduce to our team that we have a team that truly is bright and they walk their talk. But first, we have a little word from our sponsor. We want to reach off now to Wendy Kennedy and some other things. From the creators of 40 Days of Past Lives and Karma and 40 Days of Self-Love comes the class you've been waiting for, an introduction to Step Astrology. That's right, I'm sharing some of my inside secrets on how to read a chart according to Step Astrology and help you interpret the stars, whether it's for yourself or for clients. Keep a lookout for us coming soon. Sirius Joy Academy and Introduction to Step Astrology. That was Wendy Kennedy, by the way. She was phenomenal. Such a diplomat, really, of the Palladium race. And she's so kind and gentle, but her channeling over the weekend was amazing. We had a channel panel with her and 2 others, and you'll meet one of those channels tonight. But first, we're going to dive into some fantastic fun here, getting to know some of our team at Sirius Joy. I've had the pleasure of knowing these people for some time now, and I'm so grateful to be working with them. I have to say, it's one of the most enjoyable part of the job, frankly. We've had an informative weekend over Unite the Light. Our family helped plan and participate in this. They work tirelessly and they dedicate with their heart. So you just can't get that very often. I'd like to bring on our first guest, which is Gwen English and Christy Marie Miller. Gwen, I'm not sure how that'll happen. Gwen, hi Gwen. And here you are both together. Terrific. Well, Gwen at the bottom, Gwen English is an old friend of mine. In fact, she's the one who introduced me to astrology, to give her the proper credit. That was 30 years ago. We've been friends all along. And finally, we came to a point where she could work together with me. She's a writer for Sirius Joy. She writes a lot of the texts that go out. You may or may not know. She's the co-host of the Welcome Party. So she welcomes every new subscriber in every month. And she's also the principal of our SJ Academy. So she's heading up our educational arm. And she's got 30 years of teaching behind her, frankly, as her credibility. She's amazing and brilliant at getting the information in. And then we have Krista Marie Miller. And Krista has become a recent friend in the last year and a half. The universe brought us together. She's a brilliant channel and probably the best medium I've ever met in my life. That's honest to God truth. It's not like you can dial up anybody in heaven. She's also the host of our Sovereign Revolution, a series on Sirius Joy, where she channels Mary Magdalene, the partner of Yeshua or Jesus Christ. And she brought Mary Magdalene to the table in our channel panel. So welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Nice to see you outside of work, huh? Usually we're in this format anyways, because we work all around, we're a virtual office. So this is another day, right? In the office.
Well, this is a little bit more fun. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
I'm excited too. This is a fun moment. And it's fun to share, the team behind our brand and what we do, because it really takes a whole team. First of all, I'd just like to, each of you to talk about what you experienced at Unite the Light. What was your immediate takeaway in each of your roles? So Gwen, you presented a 7-minute suggestion, and last year you also held a panel. What was your experience like this year at Unite the Light?
Well, the content and the speakers and the panelists exceeded my personal and professional expectations. I just thought it came together beautifully. We had a few programming hiccups in terms of tech, but the content just blew me away. My 7-minute suggestion was really about building your team of light, and Spirit kind of planned that to go along with the speakers. We had such a diverse team and really a wonderful diversity in terms of health and natural living and the channel panel was fantastic, as well as Erica's Soul Capital book was a big takeaway for me.
You're an empath. Everyone on our team is. What was your general feeling about the vibe there?
You know, I felt like it was one of the most grounded crowds that I'd ever worked with. They were very grounded and connected. They were patient and kind. They were joyful and ready to receive. And, I had a lot of fun interacting with the participants. They came and spoke to us, and we were very happy to speak to them. And so I made some really good connections. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have to just second that I never meet, someone I don't like. Everyone's just kind of in the vibe. It's so refreshing to be able to just like tell your past life stories and not feel weird, and people are so enthusiastic to be
Yeah.
there. They're just genuinely optimistic and nice, and kind. So, especially even with the hiccups, they actually liked it, they said, because they had time to hang out in those moments where tech hit us. And just for the record, for the audience, made the problem of starting this thing when the sun conjuncts Uranus. And so I apologize to the crowd. I'll never schedule Sun and Uranus again at 27. It's like as soon as it hit, like literally hit within like a 1 or 2 degree orb. I'm talking about the moon and the sun rather. We literally lost everything tech wise. It went down. It was working before, so it was a moment, but a divine moment because people got to know each other and they all thanked me for it. I was like, it wasn't planned, but you're welcome. How about you, Miss Krista? It's such a pleasure to work with you as well. What was your impression, just energetically? Because you're also very sensitive to the crowd.
Yeah, energetically, it was again, like I said this about last year too, but this year it was more of a homecoming of intimate sort. It was this energetic alignment where we were all kind of just vibing at the same frequency, and it was just this, it was a big love fest, and there was not, one unhappy soul in the building. It was just we were all coming together and getting this done, and it was just beautiful to witness.
Did Mary have any comments?
She always has comments.
Yeah, she sounds very opinionated. Yeah.
It was really great to hang out with Rob and Wendy for personal time, and I've not met many other channelers, and so to talk shop with them was super special. And then the music that Kristin put together, the Unite the Music, just really it united all of us. And Phoebe Hunt is a dear personal friend of mine, and so it's always just so great to be with a soul sister. And yeah, the music really, it was beautiful too.
Thank you for pointing it out. We'll talk about that more in detail with Kristin, but this year we sort of wanted to recognize unrecognized lightworkers, and we recognize musicians, that they have been lightworkers from the very beginning, often a thankless job, especially back in Shakespearean time where people were throwing food at them, you know what I mean? Like, and they just always lift the spirit. And the people that were chosen were so remarkable. Their voices were so goosebump penetrating. Like, you can't fake that shift. And it was a great addition. I really liked it too. I vibed with it. Krista, then you were on the panel. I'm sorry, just want to interject? Someone? No?
I was just going to say I had the pleasure of introducing Phoebe and asking her some questions. And, it was really fun. She sells out stadiums all over. So it was really fun to be able to have such a down to earth conversation about the spiritual impact that she hopes to engage in playing her music. And I just, I think music is the angelic bridge. So I was transported with her open.
Totally. It was a great choice. And she is truly what we're defining. She truly does intentional music. And she says she doesn't plan the healing, but she knows it's going to happen. And she's holding space for it. And this is a woman who's playing a violin and singing at the same time. So it's really remarkable. She has actually a track. Well, long story goes, Krista, you met her last year. And how did you end up working with her on your show, Sovereign Revolution?
She was one of the many people that approached me and just said, I don't know what it is about you. I just need to get to know you. And then one thing led to another, where we were both at Brittany Carmichael's summer solstice and a month later. And we just clicked and hit it off. And her song "Woman on Fire" is so that's Magdalene right there. Like, she just spoke Magdalene. I'm like, we need to do a Magdalene album together. She's like, yes. And then one thing led to another where, she does the introduction to the Sovereign Revolution, and she was so gracious to allow us to use her music in that. And she said she's not a healer, but she literally pieced my broken heart back together for Unite the Light. I was going through something pretty traumatic for me, but she, with just a special program, like in the time we were waiting, she just healed me, and she's just a beautiful earth angel.
Amazing, with clear mission. She told me the story about how she wrote that song too, and it was with a friend who's going through a divorce, and she's like, I embodied that, female empowerment moment. I was like, it comes through. It's really powerful.
Yeah.
Christopher, yourself, you had worked, again, this is the first time you worked with two mediums in this fashion on stage. If people don't know, we had Wendy Kennedy and we had Rob Gauthier. He told me how to pronounce his name. And, Rob channeled Archangel Metatron, Wendy channeled the Pleiadians, and you channeled Mary Magdalene. I hope my questions weren't a little too harsh for Mary. It was kind of like street talk. Yeah.
Oh no, like she was expecting more heavy hitter questions.
Really?
So yeah, she was bracing herself, but she knows you, and she was ready for it. And she, it gets good chuckles from the audience, and it gets them engaged. And I think, the answers that she had to a lot of those things I hadn't even heard. So it was special to hear. And she's just so profound, and she always talks about things that are happening in the moment, and she's so relevant, and she comes in with so crystal clear detail, which is how I do my readings too. When I decided to channel her, I said, okay, we're going to do this, but we're only going to do this if we bring in with detailed information that will help people in the now. And she has, not, she's delivered every single time.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's stuff I learned stuff. I've heard a lot. I've had the privilege of talking to her through you another time, and I was amazed at some of the stuff. For instance, the reason what Jesus's or Yeshua's mission actually was.
Yeah, that one I heard before. That's actually, it goes into detail in my book. But it's she, people in the chat earlier were talking about the light body, and she has teaching upon teaching upon teaching and how important the light body is. And that's what Yeshua's main mission was here, to teach us how to strengthen that light body. And we really miss that message in modern dogmatic teachings, that we don't hear about it. We hear about the Christ consciousness and the white light, but we're not taught on how to use it for ourselves. And it is all about the light body and working with the light.
Yeah, she mentioned that before Yeshua, that people would die and get lost. They wouldn't find the light.
It's true.
And that
Yeah.
was Yeshua's and her main intention, was to teach people how to find the light. Whereas the Egyptians had culture that taught them about death and afterlife. They noticed that, I guess the Jewish population mostly is what we're speaking to there, did not have it. And he wanted to help all, and she did too. She also talked about she was the masculine in the relationship and he was the feminine. That was also feminine.
Yeah, that's also a newer concept of, in a Hieros Gamos sacred marriage relationship, that you have to embody both, but we are all born with a dominant more energy, whether we're in a female body or a male body, doesn't matter. The energy that's running through us will be predominant masculine or female. And that's the same with me and my husband. I hold the masculine a lot more, and he holds the feminine. And so when she told me that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is not abnormal, that this can happen. And so, but the ultimate goal is to balance out that masculine and feminine within yourself and with your partner, so that there's 4 aspects of you when you come into intimate space.
Yeah, very modern thinking of ancient topic of their relationship.
Yes.
Gwen, as an educator, Gwen, you saw that panel, for instance. What was the greatest thing you learned in that panel, watching it?
Well, first of all, I really enjoyed that the speakers talked about their process. Like you brought questions in before they did channeling, and kind of they broke it down. One of the favorite things for me was that Rob's partner outed him in a cab and said he's a transgender channel.
Yeah.
Transdimensional channel. He was like, I think we've all had that experience as light workers, where somebody asks us what we do and we pause and somebody else just spills it. So it was just fun to see to get to know the channel panel better. It was also amazing to see the channelers answering the questions, Metatron and the Palladians and Mary, and then how they kind of engaged with the crowd after, I thought was fantastic. And I didn't know what to expect, like how this was going to play out. Like, were they going to be duking it out? Were they going to be arguing with each other? So it was incredibly respectful and informative. I loved it.
Yeah, at one point I said, do you all want to talk to each other? And, Wendy and the Palladians corrected me very quickly, like, we're transdimensional. We can have more conversations at once than just this. And it's like, oh, excuse me. It's like a very polite boundary.
Really. Yeah. So they were very direct to us. It was by their design. So,
It was brilliant.
and I had this image when she said that of them chuckling backstage at all of the humans.
Yeah, having a tea somewhere in another dimension. So, as an educator and as also a light worker, what do you find was probably the most potent lesson or transformation that you learned about? So, what you think was most powerful?
Well, that's tough to answer. I think, I had some personal takeaways, which were really important because the diversity of topics were separate and individual on their own, but then they were also connected. So one of the things that I really took away from this is that coming into some of the astrology and things we have coming up over the next 2 years, that it's going to be really important for me personally to update my grounding practices. So I'm taking Wendy's class.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, they all offer classes and on different things you could take at a low price, which is really awesome too. Yeah. Well, you've always been a very good, thank you, by the way, for grounding. Your Scorpio mastery was necessary, just holding space. I think you deserve some credit for that. Going around playing hostess. A lot of people had talked about that. So I just want to, on the air, give you the credit for that. Well, each of you are practitioners outside of Sirius Joy as well. So I want to make sure that people know what you do and what you offer, so that people can connect. I can say both of these ladies are remarkably brilliant in their own right and offer a variety of options to help you grow. I've grown from both of these ladies' advice. I'll tell you that right now. Of course, they're both available. I mean, Gwen is part of our welcome party. She has something new coming out probably this year as well. Chris Marie does Sovereign Revolution at Sirius Joy. But how can we, work with you? Our audience can work with you. Let's start with Krista, and we'll go to Gwen.
So you can reach me across Krista Marie Miller across all platforms. Super easy. It's my website. It's my socials. And what I'm offering for this particular thing is I'm doing a color class. And I learned about, I couldn't see auras growing up. And so I was always fascinated by auras. And when I learned that about, because I saw frequency and I saw like terahertz frequency and numbers. But then when I heard that colors at a frequency, all the download information came in. And so I am teaching how to work with the color frequency in order to connect with your consciousness fields and your spiritual team. So that's a free class that I'm doing. And I sold out, but I added more spots so people can join me. And that will be happening in a week or two.
That's a good problem to have. And where do they go for that?
Just KristaMarieMiller.com, and then or you can scan the QR code right here, or at Ad Intuitive through the Unite the Light page, multiple avenues. And if you have any hiccups, you could always just message me through any social media platform.
You know what? I didn't ask this also since Gwen brought it up. What did you have any personal takeaways where you grew from the event? Would you care to share?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love to talk more about Wendy and Rob with this, but I was consciously aware of the conversation we were having out of body. And they were also, and I called a few people out in the audience, but a few people, and it was fascinating to be out of body and then watching everybody else's higher selves in the audience and how they were taking in the information. And there's a few of you guys in the crowd that I saw you came up and poked me astrally. And I'm like, I feel you, I see you. And I confronted one participant afterwards and he was blown away. He's like, you felt that? I'm like, yeah, I could see that you're a skeptic. I saw it all. And so that was my first time of being out of body, and then just being so consciously aware. I was walking around the audience. I actually, I was like, Rob, you need to go to the bathroom. And he's like, no, no, no. I'm like, Rob, you need to go to the bathroom.
Really?
And so
So
like
you were
I was
poking him,
like
huh?
taking him, and finally he's like, okay, I'm going in. And so that was a beautiful like ascension process for myself to feel how far I've come in my channeling abilities.
Wow. And has that happened since Pluto and Aquarius? I'm just curious as an astrologer if you've really
No, this was totally the first time that happened. And like I said, you helped me with a conscious channeling where I'm comfortable just being right here, and I don't like head out to the beach or go up on the roof anymore where I'm completely black out. So it's just that, yeah, I think this is a Pluto and Aquarius thing where I've just gotten so much stronger. And another aspect that a lot of people notice was that I keep my eyes open. And again, that's thanks to Christopher. He really helped me hone in on my channeling, where Magdalene can completely take over my whole body, and I'm not in fear of it. I'm not like I don't need to be in control. And so she can actually walk around, she can draw, she can write, and she sees through my eyes, but I'm still seeing out of body. And it's fascinating to watch. And so yeah, I learned a lot in this channel panel, personally and professionally. Yeah.
Yeah, and the moment with was really funny with Rob, because Metatron's like, Rob needs to use the restroom now. He's been drinking too much water. Metatron was very like, formal about it. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. And he got up and went to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, okay. Metatron gave permission. I guess you poked Meta, so that was fascinating. Yeah, Gwen. So I'd like to talk about what you do also, and what your services are that you offer.
So I do readings. I do astrology readings, and usually my readings are a blend of astrology, tarot, and listening to my guides. It's just kind of been a natural blend that came together since the beginning. My intention when I work with someone is to kind of chart a course based on certain things that come up in the reading, to kind of give them a map of how to address some of the things that are coming up for healing or attention in their consciousness, or even just joy and fun. So I offered a reading special that you can get $100 off a reading at the Add Intuitive page. That's still happening, and you can find me at intuitivebloom.com.
Intuitive Bloom, if you guys didn't catch it. It broke up a little bit on my side. Yeah, I got so many compliments. I mean, Gwen has been my private sensei for a long time now. And I would attribute most of my success actually to her, in the sense of keeping me in the guardrails and being a great Scorpio when I was, having problems with boundaries. But everyone agrees that some of your insight is so brilliant and different than everyone's ever experienced. Yeah, Krista shaking her head. It's just, you have to experience Gwen to understand her. But she's a grandmaster teacher. There's no question about it. So take advantage of this. It got me here, except my tardiness issue. That was nothing to do with her. Do with her. Don't associate that.
Well, he has an intercept in Scorpio, so sometimes he sends me away.
Sometimes, yeah. Just do not answer. I don't want to face the truth. So,
and Gwen is the backbone on the Sovereign Revolution. She helped me form that show, and so I have to give so much thanks to Gwen as well. She's a phenomenal teacher and intuitive. Yeah.
Really, man.
Well, it was a pleasure. I was told in my first astrology reading, in my first chart. So as every good Scorpio would, I looked at my chart and started crying. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a horrible person. And I called Janice, and she's like, come in, I'll give you a reading. And I said, am I going to be a famous artist? She's like, no, you've already done that. And I was like, She said, you are here to heal through teaching. That's your goal. And she said, it doesn't matter what you teach. It just matters that you're doing it. So, and then step astrology just says step 21 is when it starts to get fun.
Yeah, you're always very jovial, and that's great, because I lately have not been and you're taking in there. So I think picking up the speed. So thank you. And thank you both, ladies. It's such a pleasure to work with both of you. I think Sirius Joy is it's a real trademark to where we are as far as, our future, because of the talent that we've come together with. And both of you are bright stars at Sirius Joy. So thank you.
Well, thanks for having me. And thank you for your patience and persistence. Last year at the first Unite the Light, you said, we're working together. He's only been asking 30 years.
He's hard to recruit.
He waited me
I
out.
had to keep the business at least that long. So yeah. Well, I mean, when you see talent, you want to use it. And when I met Krista, same thing. It was just like, wow, I have to work with this bright light. So thank you both. See you backstage. Appreciate you coming tonight.
Bye.
Yeah, we do
Thank
need.
you. Thank you.
All right, next up on the docket, another two of my favorites, Robbie Hunt and Kristin Reitlin. And Reitter, excuse me. Hi, Miss. I went wrong in your name. I don't know why. Sorry, sis.
I was like, who am I?
I went to your married name for a second and stop, erase, move back. So anyways, Robbie is our lead astrologer at Sirius Joy. She was the first hire at Sirius Joy. People don't know that. She actually started watching me from her spooky Aquarius position all the way back to Soul Garden days, where she was watching me from afar and going, "Who is this guy?" I have to say, she's one of the first people that really affirmed, as an astrologer, the accuracy of the step system and really saw its brilliance and saw what it was. And she, to this day, has been a huge defender of it and protector of it, kind of like an eagle would watch over. And she, on our site, she's our lead astrologer, so she oversees a lot of our astrological officials, and she's also a historical astrologer. She does a lot of the deep history research. She just came up with something today. You might want to share something pretty amazing. And she also does a monthly show, and which is basically self-study hall, where she takes a topic and helps you learn the deep dive of it. But she's also the weekend anchor of the Pep Talk, and she comes in and she, brings in her wisdom, which is that historical perspective and a lot of anecdotes and things like that. She's priceless and a wonderful part of Sirius Joy, a big part of the backbone. She also saved our Astro when I was off the air. Her and Kristin both did. Kristin Reitter is a soul sister I met at a party. We immediately recognized ourselves as friends, and we've been friends for years. We've been roommates, and finally, when I had Sirius Joy, I wanted to work with Kristin. She's been always a volunteer and helped me with anything project I was on. She's a great team leader that way, but she's really particular with her voice and talented with her voice and vibration, where she does a daily sound drop, which is basically an audio meditation with her sound bowl. She did a sound healing for the crowd on Sunday morning, which everyone talks about, by the way, was amazing. She's also recently the host of what we call Moon Wisdom. So she's stepping back to an old role from Soul Garden, where she's our moon goddess. So she's talking about the full moon and the new moon, and doing kind of an educational class on Sirius Joy once a month, and then meditations, guided meditations for the lunar events. So she wears lots of hats. She's also a mother, and she's also an artist and a singer herself. So again, all these forefather kind of energies, foremother energies. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It is nice. This is fun versus our Monday morning meeting, where we get together and we scoop through the planets every Monday, which we do famously well. Let's start with, I guess, Robbie, tell us. I mean, you've been, you've presented kind of twice, and so has Kristin. So both of you have a unique perspective here. Robbie, last year you did a full-on presentation. This year you introduced, and you did a 7-minute suggestion. As presenter, how did the 2 years compare to you?
Well, totally different. Being a presenter and coming up with what it takes for that certainly is a whole lot different. But what was so funny about this one was I was talking about courageous conversations, and that it's time that we talk. And I had these notes of all of this stuff I was going to say, and doggone it, if you and Robert Edward Grant didn't just steal the stage from me. I had all these notes. I'm like, what? You have just taken most of my presentation. Oh, well, time to improvise. So I did, and it went over fine. So that was fun, doing a presentation kind of on my feet like that. But introducing one of the artists, I introduced Austin Jinx. That was great. I enjoyed doing that. But primarily, I enjoyed just talking with everyone. This year, not speaking gave me the opportunity to spend more time and do that thing of kissing babies and shaking hands and talking with a lot of people and just hearing what they had to say, their questions, talk with a few people about what was going on in their world. So it gave me a chance to kind of just sit and relate with the community in a different way than I did last year.
Mm-hmm. And what's your impression of the vibe of the community and the vibe of the people there?
Because it was such an intimate setting, people got the opportunity to talk. It was good to meet people and actually, as we say here at my house, breathe the same air with someone.
Mm.
And so I think a lot of these people were new. This had not been, they had not been to UTL last year. And so just the opportunity for them to meet us, to meet people that they interact with in the comments, but don't ever interact outside of that, that it was really good for them as well, that they had a good time. And I think just seeing the presenters after hearing about them for a while was something that they were looking forward to as well. It seemed like everyone had some kind of a personal takeaway for it, and they were sharing a lot of it.
Holding space.
Mhm.
You're a radical protector of me. I was in the final party. There was a moment when I was sort of caught up with a viewer, and she puts up a sign like, "Do you need me to rescue you?" That's just kind of a sign of how Robbie is always there for you. Kristen, how about yourself? You've presented now 2 Sundays in a row, kicking off the event. People always say it's amazing. By the way, your
Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you. It's an honor. And I mean, it is very different than it was last year. And my light language and my technology has evolved a lot in, gosh, the last 6 months, let alone, I do have my platonic solid program that I'm going to be launching and releasing the 1st of June. But it was also really different this year, bro, because I did Unite the Music as well.
Yes.
So it was like timelines merging for me this year, but I was having to wear hats that I didn't even know I had to, help facilitate, manage the musicians, make sure they were flexible on time, because we did have some crazy, not on the sun conjunct Uranus, bro. Like, never again. Never,
Yeah.
never again.
I
Never
wanted to say astrology is what we do, but it's not what we do sometimes.
Right. Well, you think a team of astrologers. I mean, I think I just said it's going to be this, and you guys agree. I think it was actually profound. It's just, to me, it was, just talk astrology shop. I feel like in the end, Sun Conjuncting Uranus is about innovating our values. And what I realized was the value of the show is very much that people talking and people getting to know each other. And so I was like, oh, that's the real value. That's the hidden values. People want to meet each other. So we kind of forced that in typical Witecki way. It was a force, not a volunteer. But yeah.
And there's power and force in holding it. And I have fireworks going on outside my window right now. Can you hear that?
Yes,
Oh,
we can.
yeah. Well, Sun conjunct Uranus. Tell God your plan. So talk about divine timing. But what I was able to witness in some of the panelists and speakers was absolutely stunning. I had worlds collide by literally walking into Wendy Kennedy prior to her even going into the hall. And I've wanted to meet her since you met her in Shasta last year, and hearing her, because I have a heart connection to Shasta. Come to find out, she knows a dear girlfriend of mine that I literally spoke her name last week. And
Wow.
so we're working on some other fun magic that I'm really looking forward to. And the musician aspect, they were so amazing. And every one of them had the perfect vibration to partake, starting it out with Phoebe at the beginning of the show. I mean, first of all, I love the violin, and I love Phoebe because I got to interview her on my Who Are You show. And she is so gifted. She's a new mom. The work she does with children and with music and her songs, and that Fire Goddess song, yes. I was like, absolutely. She's like, is this song okay? I was like, yes. And Robbie, I love that you got to interview Austin. He's just like a big country guy with a big old heart. And I totally loved him, and his song was great. And then we had Scott step in for our dinner Saturday night. He did great. I really wanted to fix his microphone. So I was constantly producing in the back scene. I'm like running to the sound guy and like seeing if everybody's on time with this or what I could do to help the behind the scenes go up. But the channel panel, I kind of want to have all of them in a room one-on-one by myself so I can be like, let's play.
Mhm.
So I'm super excited about that. I'm so sorry about the fireworks,
It's okay.
y'all.
Mhm.
And then we had, I know this gentleman from another life. I swear I always forget his name. Chancellor Lawson.
He
He
was great.
heart of gold, and the timbre of his voice he sang on Sunday, and I thought he was a Pisces, bro. They weren't all Pisces, just Chancellor.
Mm-hmm.
The timbre of his voice and how it matched his guitar, and they were also flexible with working with us in our unpredictable schedule, and it all worked out. It all worked
Magical.
out. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
magic.
Music and frequency literally changes your vibration, literally gets you out of a mood, brings you back in time. I ran into Austin. Well, I actually talked to Austin after the event, and I was like, "Is this the first kind of thing like this you've been to? You know what a chakra is?" "No, sir, don't know what it is." "Okay, all right. Well, you'll learn over time."
Yeah.
I explained to him and stuff, but he loved it. He said he'd want to come back sometime. So Kristin produced the musicians and casted them. She's the wisest musician we have. I think the only official musician we have on our team. Long background in music herself, but she chose one. We chose the first because she was there last year. But the others were all kind of award winner local people in Tennessee that were known musicians or had basically won little local contests, correct?
Yes. And we had some light runners because we've got light runners on Sirius Joy. So a lot of them helped send me a lot of links. And so I sat and listened I was like, ooh, and it was fun to be the director and not have to audition, which I don't think I'm ever going to do again.
Okay.
I have bigger bosses now. But it was wonderful to experience the diversity of music and to get that country vibe in there, because that's what we were also really focusing on this year, and what we're learning as we're doing Unite the Light, that we really want to bring the local community together of people, so Austin, we had some folks, in Nashville, we tried to keep them as local as possible. And next year, is it fair to say where we're going to be, bro?
Go ahead, announce it.
Palm Springs. We're going to be in Palm Springs, California. I have some friends in Palm Springs, California. I'm going to try and convince Christopher to not do it when all children are graduating next year. It's not going to work.
We're going to do it when the sun conjunction Uranus at 1 degree.
When the sun conjunction
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so it'll be summertime.
Yeah, totally. Got it. Yeah, we'll do it sometime. We'll fill that out. We'll announce it. Yeah, it depends on venue too. Robbie, how about yourself? I'm curious what your personal takeaway is. I mean, you're a very wise person. You have a lot of knowledge under that hat. What was surprising or interesting to you or most compelling?
I was so excited that I got to ask Metatron a question. I was so excited to have someone to talk about that particular topic with, who could come at it from that perspective. So for me personally, that was a big deal. Kristin's sound bath was way off the charts. And there was a point where I just was like, man, I am receiving so much healing. So that was a big thing. The channel panel overall was very personally, how do I put this? Inspiring, because I haven't thought about personal channeling. I haven't thought about me doing that. And I'm not saying that I am now, but it just put the idea in my head that there have been times when I've done that. A lot of how I got my information from the planets was that way.
Yes.
Before I ever cracked an astrology book, and kind of at the same time around 2007 when I discovered you. So it just put a different perspective on it. It's been out of reach, and it got very personal for me. So I'm actually thinking about taking Rob's class about learning to channel.
Ooh,
Thinking about
cool. Gosh. I mean, meetings just like go into trance and it's Pluto talking. Probably Pluto and Saturn.
Pluto.
Most likely. What was the question you asked, Metatron? I don't recall. I was so in the moment.
that we know that Earth is doing her ascension, and we feel that mostly in a lot of the change that we've had in the climate. But how I was picking that up is that it's going on solar system wide, that it's happening with the sun and what's called the grand solar minimum, that and that it must be happening through the other planets, because NASA and other places also say that climate change is happening on these other planets. So were we as a solar system also ascending? To which he answered, not only the solar system, but the galaxy and the universe. And he was talking about fractals upon fractals and how all of that was happening at the same time. So I'm waiting to see a replay on it so I can make more notes on it. But that was right up my alley about, if you want to be a good astrologer, be a good astronomer, understand these planets and how they play. And that if Earth is ascending, well, so are all of those other planetary bodies as well.
I think it's from that question he went off on weather in general, that Mother Earth is actually, most storms and things are Mother Earth excreting and processing the emotional energy of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think I followed up and said, but is any of it man tampered with? And he said, yes. The man is tampering with the weather. And that was like, wow, thanks for the truth. You know, we all suspected that. So he did out some sort of what you call conspiracies. He did kind of just blankly say, and his way of answering something is so a matter of fact. It's really fascinating. You know, totally, I love it. I mean, he's kind of what I always thought Metatron would be. You know. And the other thing I asked him was if he was an angel before he was, Enoch, or if he was in fact promoted to being an angel. He said he was always an angel before, because it said that he was promoted, and Enoch too being one of my faves. So in history, knowing all the truth and whatnot, it was really interesting to get those history mysteries, answered. And I tried to in each case, in each person. So what do you feel like, either of you answer and jump in, was probably the best medicine for people in this moment? I mean, being educators as we are, we're always looking to educate, inform, expand people's understanding. What do you feel, something you might have known, but what do you feel was the most positive or powerful teaching moment?
From Unite the Light, or in this now moment?
Well, no, in this moment, I think they're getting backstory, but gossip on us. But I'm curious, like, in the Unite the Light, like, what do you think was the most powerful for people who may want to watch later? Is what I'm getting at.
Well, I'll jump in. We haven't spoken a whole lot about it. The interview with Robert Edward Grant.
Oh, that's true. We haven't.
That was spectacular, and I know that it was edited. I would love to see the whole thing, but it was powerful. It was supportive, and it was supportive in a way that you could take some of those talking points to your friends that I think some of this stuff is bunk, and talk with them and help them understand that we've got two different perspectives that are basically seeing the same thing. And so I thought that was very powerful, and I think it introduced me to his work in an even deeper way. I'd seen him on YouTube. I'd watched some of his stuff over the years, but that just made me even more of a fan.
Oh, that's great. What did you think of Robert Edward Grant?
I have always been attracted to his work, and I thought the interview was amazing. I too want the entire download, because it actually integrates with the work that I do in my Platonic Sound program, which I did 3 times last year. And I'm going to pre-record it one more time before I evolve it to the next level of what it is going to become.
Yeah.
But I was instructed from my team that I could not research anyone the first 3 times I did the program, because I had to bring it through as pure and clear as I could.
I understand that. Yeah.
It's humbling, to have to do something you've never done before and guide people, but it's along with my sound. And that is how the entire universe is created, with the Platonic solids, sacred geometry, and sound. So I have had a very humbling year, and an honorable year. But I can't wait to meet him in person. I hope you can come to Palm Springs next year.
I hope so too. I hope we can work with him prior to that. He's incredibly busy, but he's like, he's a Taurus, step 25. So, that was compelling to me too, because I think from looking at his chart, which he let me see, all of his lifetimes prior to this was all faith and spirituality.
Right.
This science is new in his soul. He's learning the proof of God in Earth now. And, he opened up I don't know if we talked about it, but we talked, he opened up saying that zero didn't exist. And I was like, what? Zero doesn't exist. Like, what, man, you're ruining my whole career.
We already talk about zero. Oh, Pluto, Scorpios. It's okay. You're fine. Everything's going to be okay, Scorpios. It's there.
Yeah, and then that there's a particle and a wave to numbers, and what we know as numbers is actually the particle, but it's a wave. It's like brilliant stuff. To where I always like racing to keep up in the interview, which is not always the case. So it's pretty amazing. He's right now in Egypt, still on this big discovery trip. So fascinating man. Thank you. Well, Kristin, you brought up platonic solids. Tell us exactly what that is, and then tell us about this class you have coming up and other offerings.
Oh, right. Well, the platonic solids, there are 5 of them. Many of you that are Sirius Joy members have worked with the Merkaba, the icosahedron. Merkaba is the heart and fire energy, which is 2 tetrahedrons that come together to make up the Merkaba. The icosahedron is the water element, which we did for Truth and Purpose on Sirius Joy. And we go through all the elements. Dodecahedron is ether, the most complicated and can withstand all of the other elements within it. The octahedron is air, and then the hexahedron is the earth element, where all these particles, which we are also getting through the plasma that's coming into the field. So Rob and I had some fun talking with Metatron. I was like, okay, let's play. So fun. Because I loved him so much. So the sound program basically is a guided meditation where I teach you all of the angles and aspects of the elements, and then I guide you through a meditation which works with we're always working with the core of Gaia. So, and as you had mentioned, as Rob has mentioned, as many of us, myself included, have mentioned, we are helping by clearing our channels, bringing that plasma and light through to the core of Gaia, which is assisting her in her birthing process to create new Earth now. The more of us that do the work, the faster we're going to get to where we want to go. Let's glow. So in this program, I do 5 pre-recorded programs with sound, guided meditation, breath work, and you'll get some singing lessons. So you can learn not to sing like me, but to sing like you, because that is your unique frequency, which is going to help you unlock your gift that the entire universe is waiting to hear.
Nicely said. Where do we go to sign up?
KristinReitter.com, Kristin Reitter across all the socials, Kristin Reitter on YouTube. I have Pop-Up Tarot on Fridays. I have a Who Are You show. I don't know why I'm so tired.
I know. And I'll say this. In the programs that we have for 40 Days of Self-Love and the other programs that we have, Truth and Purpose, people who have done her program have gone out of body. Like there's something about it there where she's meditating on lines and points, and people have past life flashbacks. Like it is a gateway. You've discovered a gateway, Kristin, and your voice is very, I guess the word is hypnotic is a good way to put it. So it helps people in. And it's a part of our show too. The Daily Sound Drop is like our hypnotic musical ability to meditate. It's like our meditation show on the service. Robbie, how about yourself? I know you're in high demand. You're always telling me, I'm booked till this. It's like, okay, good. People love your readings. A lot of people tell me, start off with saying they had a reading with you. But what else, how can people work with you one-on-one?
Well, so yeah, as of this recording, I'm booked through August. So I'm starting to take stuff into September right now. And, I do readings and I combine some metaphysics in with some of that. And a lot of my approach is to be pretty honest with you, but kind and honest. And, let's get down to the nitty gritty of what's going on with you and see what we can find a solution, because I'm a big believer that if there is an obstacle or a challenge in your chart, there's always an answer as well. God, the universe never puts you down here without any kind of an answer. In terms of working with me, a lot of people have asked that. I started something many years ago that I never really advertised, and I still don't really advertise it. It's just when people ask me, is there something that we could do on a monthly basis? I do that through your lunar return. That if we look at your solar return, we look at your natal chart, and your lunar return tells me how your entire year is going to unfold month by month, what emotionally is happening, and how the current transits may be impacting that. So I do that. I've got room for maybe a few more people before it starts becoming unwieldy, and we'll have to wait for people to cycle out. It's a stay as long as you want. Try it for a couple of months. Don't try it, after a couple of months if it's done. It's kind of goal oriented, trying to get you through something. But most of the time, it's a mental, emotional thing, not so much a goal like, with your diamond projects, which are so great. That's goal oriented about a particular project. This is something that's more about an emotional pitfall or a trap that you keep falling into, and just seeing how you can work through that. So that is my stuff. That's at bitesizeastrology.com. And I am working that I'm hoping toward the end of the year with my Reverend Robbie brand that I will be teaching metaphysics and general metaphysics, but also metaphysics with an angle toward Christian metaphysics, because I am a defender of Yeshua. I do believe I saw him teach and heal when he was here on this earth. And I am bound and determined to help restore some of those original teachings that he gave us.
I feel him smiling right now, actually. So that's wonderful. And I'll just say, Robbie just pulled me aside from my solar return. And even as an astrologer, she sees stuff I don't see, I'll tell you right now, and always keeps me in check there. And that's the thing about astrologers. They all see something different. They're all experts with different angles. And it's so helpful to have someone like you on the team, and Kristin as well. Both of you keeping me bright and in tune. So thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to end up real quick. Kristin and I got to see each other a whole lot more, even though we live close to each other. We just had a great time getting to be deeper sisters. So thanks, Kristin.
Thank you, Robbie. I love you. And I love you
too. We love Christopher.
You can also catch Robbie and I once a month on Mega Monthly Zodiac Show, which is now free to the public as well. I forgot to mention that. That's a recent adventure, and that's a lot of fun. We poke each other, have a lot of fun with the astrology every month. So that's been a fun part of this year, Robbie.
Yeah, we're getting our groove with it now.
We are. We got a great campaign coming out, too. I can't wait to do it. All right, friends. Well, we're going to take a little commercial break. When we come back, we have 2 more Sirius Joy stars, so keep streaming. We'll be right back.
What if marketing could be a spiritual practice? Not pressure, not perfection, just resonance. You're not stuck. You're just trying to channel a soul message through a Canva template or a strategy that is not built for your energy. I'm Lily, your creative freelance BFF. I guide mystics and multi-passionates from not yet to launch using human design and AI soulful systems. This isn't just theory. It's the process I've refined with 40+ clients and creative collaborators.
Oh, that's great. Those are 2 of our big stars at Unite the Light. And I'll just say Melly Garcia was a presenter. She's brilliant. And she's actually developed a program where you can understand the way to market yourself as a light worker by using your human design. So phenomenally brilliant, because she points out that we as light workers have a hard time staying authentic. We start to worry about how people perceive us and how they'll judge us. And she says the answer is right there in your human design. And she has a whole course for it. Definitely worth investigating. Brilliant, brilliant woman. Lives in Colombia, but has been a part of Sirius Joy for over a couple of years now. So with that, let's bring on a couple more of our Sirius Joy stars. We have Jenny D and Daiki Okamoto joining us. Let's bring them on the screen if we can. If we can. Hey, Daiki.
Hey.
Here we are. Hi. You guys are so bright. I love how bright our team is. Jenny D and I go way back. Actually, she probably known me the longest here. I'd say next to Gwen. She's part of our Soul Garden brand. She was our zodiac director for Virgo. Is that correct? And helped with a
I
number.
was.
Totally, yeah. So she's been with me for probably centuries, and always been of great assistance. And the Virgo part of me that I don't want to be, which is all the details. She's actually spearheaded and kickstarted at Intuitive, our latest expansion into commercials. So those commercials you saw tonight, that's Jenny's work. At the actual event, she was just instrumental. She herself is a light worker. She herself has written books. She's an author. She's focused on children's books and astrology signs. So she's one of the first. A lot of people tell me, I'm going to write a children's book for astrology signs. Well, she actually did it, and she self-published. So it's like a tribute to her talent and her light, and just a backbone of Sirius Joy. Let me tell you, really such an important. We just need the grounded Virgo energy in the big way. But she's got her son in the first house, so she's a star too, as you can see, her glowing bright. Daiki Okamoto is our millennial astrologer. I've been coining you that way, Daiki. And understanding the millennial and the wise. He's also scientific. His background's in science, so he's sort of along the Robert Edward Grant direction in the sense of merging the two. He has an interest in Chinese medicine next, if I'm not mistaken, and herbal medicine. So you're just like we're hoping to call you Dr. Daiki in the end. And he's the youngest part of our team, I think, on the astrologers. But he himself having his own brand, Do Astrology, and also having a following on Instagram and whatnot. And one of the first people to embrace the step system as a young man. I think you watched me at the end of high school. Is that right, Daiki?
Yeah, college, in the middle of college, 2008.
Yeah, wow, that's very beginning. That's when that's when Jenny was on the team. So let's start off with your impressions. Let's start, Jenny. What was you were in the middle of it, and you were grounding the whole tornado. But what was your impression and takeaway of Unite the Light?
So I have a unique perspective from everybody else's because, like you said, I was on the ground and behind the scenes. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to watch some replays because I didn't get to see everything from beginning to end. Yeah. But what I did get to notice are, very Virgo of me. It's the little details that made a difference. Oh. Like the little interactions that I witnessed between people, like stepping outside during breaks and healing each other, like offering body work and a reading, and just that interaction. And the things like having the Salute Sante oil for tastings and people being able to take a break and taste the product. And I mean, it sounds little, but it's like those little things just made things more special. And also like everybody getting a gift on behalf of, one of our sponsors, Lisa Coltman, and then everybody getting a rose quartz heart. And just those little touching moments like kind of brought special things, I think, to the conference beyond everything that we were learning on stage. From what I did glimpse, I absolutely love conscious capitalism, and Lisa Brazelton is like my new personal hero. She had so much to say about enlightened leadership and being conscious in business. And I just was wowed by her and that whole panel. So.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing her up. I mean, you championed her from the very beginning, like, whoa, have you seen and yeah, I have to say Lisa was incredible. She's a true foremother of the new era. I mean, she's thinking about the problems in business and consciousness. She personally counsels, like I guess, helps CEOs kind of spiritually grow up, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she'll be on next week. So you guys can check her out next week.
Totally. Yeah. But you also have your thumb on the crowd, Jenny. I mean, you were on the ground floor. By the way, she also makes t-shirts. I forgot about that. Cool, cute astrology t-shirts too. So we were really well themed this year. But what did you observe as far as the overall tone and what people were learning? I mean, you're a Virgo, no detail misses you. What did you pick up on the people? I know the moments are cute.
No, I think the main thing was connecting with other people. Like there's, even here within Sirius Joy, we're always on Zoom. And it's great that we have this technology where we can connect with all these people around the world. But there is nothing like being in person and being like, oh my gosh, that's a face that I know and love over the camera, but I can hug you. And there was just so many of those moments of joy of being able to hug people and just share in the light and in that space and just have fun and be ourselves, because, we might be a lot of black and rainbow sheeps in the world, in our own family units and in communities in general. And to be in a space where we can just authentically be us. Yeah. But how powerful is that?
Even I experienced that because I see viewers on webcam. I see them on shows. I pull them up. I see their profile. I didn't see them in person. It's kind of starstruck for me too. I'm just like, oh, you're real. Like there's that moment, that little strange, kind of starry moment. Daiki, so this is your second Unite the Light. You were here at the first time you presented this time, and you moderated.
Yeah.
What was your first takeaway of the event? I mean, let's put it this way. What did you personally take away from the event?
Personally, I mean, I was able to meet everybody that was there just because it was smaller. Like it was so intimate, it was so deep. Nobody was crowding over each other in that sense. And we were all able to give each other a one-to-one, heart-to-heart, especially like Jenny said, like being physically there. You know, as astrologers, as spiritual people, we kind of sometimes forget our body and we're all up here sometimes. So actually being able to hug each other, help each other, sense each other's body cues and social cues, and actually be there in the moment with each other is just so profound. And just each of the presenters, and I just want to say that the soul mission was passed on. You know, compared to last year and this year, there was no difference and lack of the divine, of the spiritual mission that was being passed on to the people who needed to be there. And anyone who was watching stream or even watching after it's uploaded, like, it was still divine. It was still so divine and exactly how it's supposed to be. And personally, I had my crown chakra and my third eye blow up and just expand, and just Robert's talk, even being able to meet Lisa, talk to Erica, be on the panel, you know, be the moderator, see you again. You know, especially last year, I wasn't so in the scene and I haven't had my voice or my face out in social media. So last year I was still in the background and everyone thought I was like some tech person. But now that I've, you know, at least put myself out there within the year and working with you and the Astro Strategy team, this year that I went, like, it was just a stronger connection. Even like Robbie and Kristen and Gwen, now they know me. I'm not just in IT or in the background. And a lot of the people coming up to me, congratulating for my growth, telling me that my, you know, Instagram and my mini scopes and things that I write for the community is so helpful. I just feel that I'm coming into my own power, and I'm so grateful to be part of Sirius Joy community, part of your work, and just anyone and everyone that's watching. Like, we're all here and together, and we're just such a close-knit family, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning.
I have to agree. I think it is the beginning. And incidentally, Daiki is the host of Astro Mechanics on Thursdays with me. I'll come in and out on Instagram, and so does our mini scopes. They all rotate for that. He's also a ghostwriter for all the key dates. So he's a big participant and writer, and he's the co-host of the Welcome Party, where we welcome subscribers every month. So, and we're trying to develop more. I mean, honestly, people are like, slow down, Witecki. I want to keep doing more and more content. You know, like, this is enough. Let's just stop. You know,
Enough. Stop. Slow down. But, you know, you got to give mad props to Daiki. Like, as they said in the comments, he was dancing everywhere, and we got to witness that. So that was like an extra special bonus.
we do have a lot of footage of you that we will blackmail you with, Daiki, if you go too far. No, I'm kidding. No, we have a lot of great.
Next year, maybe I'll DJ the whole thing.
Oh, that would be great.
Party.
You know,
Take
unite
that.
the music, bring some dance element to the crowd. Yeah, Daiki.
Yeah, I want to get some high vibe, spiritual mojo going on for everybody.
That'd be great. We tried for that. We just didn't attract the person because he was right there under our feet, right there. It's been fun to watch Daiki grow and see Daiki come into his power, because he was very
Thank you,
observant.
guys.
And when I first interviewed him, I mean, he had the longest wait. I think he waited 18 months to be hired. Like that. Yeah, for a long time, because it's just at the wrong timing. But I knew right away he was meant to be on the team. I just felt it. Spirit guides told me so. We'll go back. Jenny, what do you feel like is what was the hidden gem of the whole show? If there was a hidden gem, like something that you didn't anticipate yourself in your Virgo analytics.
I don't want to go. I'm going to put on my Leo rising hat instead. Okay.
Please do. Please.
No, like I said, it's kind of hard for me to answer that question truthfully, because I was so behind the scenes and I didn't get to go there. But I love the things like even seeing what you did for live stream, doing the interviews behind the scenes, where people got to even more intimate look into the interviewers. And I don't know. That's kind of a hard question for me to answer. I wanted to enjoy it so much, but I got bits and pieces. And what I did attend, I'm just blown away by all the speakers. They are just huge presences and the kindest people in the entire world to work with. They are incredible and just so supportive, like one-on-one and in a crowd and everything. I just think it was a great, like, to use Gwen's terminology, a great assembly of light. A team of light that was assembled for this. And so I just think everybody that showed up, like even from the audience to the people on stage, it was quite incredible. All the energy that was there.
Thank you. I think that is a gem. You just gave me one. So
Okay,
that's
there we
great.
go.
Totally. I think
I
you're
gave
right.
him the soundbite he needed, folks.
I always tell people when I have Jupiter in the 7th. I think I have a fortune of bringing certain people together, but they always get along. They get married. They have, like there's something about it, and it's not me because they're talking to each other. You know what I mean? Like, so it's pretty amazing.
I'm waiting for that matchmaking to happen, brother.
We're holding
Hook a
space.
sister up.
Y'all heard that right here. Emailing at Sirius. But you also presented on stage, and you had a presentation, and I have to say you took to that very naturally.
Oh,
I haven't seen
thank
you
you.
present very much before. That was impressive. Yeah.
Thank
What
you.
was your takeaway?
So can I turn this around on you then? Sensei.
Sure, if you have to.
Yep, I have to. Sensei, what was your takeaway from Unite the Light?
My takeaway, my personal one,
Mm-hmm.
that I am ready to hold space for bigger things. There was a step 2, Unite the Light. I'm a Cancer as far as my progression. I would say the moon is not my favorite planet. And so for me, that was a real exercise in remaining calm, holding the emotional tone, living up to my lunar eclipse at step 28 Cancer in the 12th house. So holding the faith, and for me, that was the first time that I was actually grounded enough. I don't know if you saw that, but I was more grounded I've ever been in an event, and more centered and more calm, and just didn't lose my shift, so that was, to me, that was the personal, as far as my own personal growth. I just loved all the people, I love the presenters. I was part of that casting, and I thought they were all brilliant people. And I was just so honored that, they would lend their talent to us. They all were very kind in the fact that we were very new at it, and we'd lost help along the way. So we had a lot of, challenges. We all had to work harder. And so they were so patient and kind to us in our, us coming into full speed. Because throwing an event, y'all, is huge. It is huge. It is much different than a TV show on the internet. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Jenny?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So anyways, Jenny was good. She does the presentation. She managed to dodge that. You'll see how good she is at that. The Rising very charmingly taking us off the topic. But that's okay. You call me on it, I'll call you on it. That's our friendship.
Yes.
Daiki, how about yourself as a moderator? What was that like for you? You were very journalistic, and you seem to come from a great perspective. But you were doing conscious capitalism. We haven't talked much about it, so I'm glad you brought up Lisa Brazelton. We talked about, and we try to do every year, to talk about how to infuse consciousness into making money, because it's kind of taboo. Like, you're not supposed to make money if you're spiritual. Like, bullshit.
Mhm.
What was your takeaway? Because I was actually on that panel talking about at Intuitive.
Mhm.
What were your impressions of that?
Yeah, so I was able to speak to everybody before I came on to talk to the moderating the panel. So I was able to talk to and sit down with Lisa, and she was telling me all her methods and experiences, and just how the language and the approach that she uses on her clients is not just like coaching and mindfulness. She actually is an energetic healer. So she utilizes that into coaching these CEOs, and in turn transforming companies. So she's somebody that's able to transform a company, and to me that was just so mind-blowing, that we can actually do that, and people who are willing and looking for that kind of service. So that alone was already mind-blowing to the whole panel, to all of us who was watching. And then we also had someone like Bree, who's an AI expert, but also somewhat of a double agent, where she's working for the Australian government, but she also has her personal business where she helps people through monitoring health and body and through data, so being able to talk to somebody who is, again, almost like Robert Grant in that sense, that are so mathematical or just number-oriented people, but they're so in tune with helping other people, showing people the light, and being aware of the cosmic global shift, collective shift that's going on. It's not just Sirius Joy. There's so many people that want to help us, that want to be a part of us, that want to help you, Christopher. And just coming to that, in person, and being able to talk about it, and being frank about money in general, and the system that we live in, and the abilities that we have, it was just so eye-opening and just promising, in the sense that this is just the beginning, like I said before, and all we have to do is hone in on the money, hone in on our abilities, and share it with each other. And so we can hone in on our money.
Yeah, totally. And bringing the money through a conscious way, and it's fascinating. I think Bree is a fascinating addition as well, because she's on the forefront of a new industry that that's so far, argument can be made, is or isn't corrupt yet. I don't know. Bing and Google and
Biometrics, yeah, is
yeah,
using these biometrics and being able to connect that to the stuff that we talk about, which is more emotional and psychosomatic and stuff like that, not just data. That's what she does. But
yeah,
yeah, even
and,
even when I'm trying to build up my brand and work and come into my power, I think about the energetics about making money. If this is how I'm making money and this is how I'm consuming things, how is it going to show to my audiences? Is my clients going to trust me with the money? What is the karma around me taking this type of money and using it on certain products and certain things? What is the karma around it? And I just love that Lisa, Erica, and even you have your own businesses for a long time like you, and you've experienced this and you were able to show it and share it to us in the panel, to the audience. So I think if people are ready, I think people are ready to build their business up. So I think it's great.
yeah. I mean, it's more complicated than people think in the sense that if you're foreseeing this only doing it for the money, people they project their own money problems sometimes on the company and the brand. And I certainly have been accused of, being sales freak, sales focused, but people don't realize it's because I lose money. It's hard. It's really hard sale to get someone to invest in themselves, B, that I'm the person to help you, C, that I have the product that will help you. I always say it's a triple sale if you're a light worker. Jenny, as the person leading up at Intuitive, I mean, you've been seeing light workers move into advertising and more media. I mean, what has been your observation in that position?
Well, first, I'm not loving the word. I know it is advertising, but I feel like in our business, it's more like awareness. So it's not like we're trying to sell ourselves. It's more like we're trying to create an awareness. This is who we are. This is what we sell, because there's so many people in a light worker industry that has similar gifts, but like even astrology you were mentioning with Robbie, like you have different takes on it. So there's different people who resonate with different people. And the more that we can get ourselves out there and visual and connected to people, the more people find who resonates with us and attract that in. So along the lines of what was Lisa saying, everything, it's, we're not trying to sell ourselves. We're just trying to give a space for people to create awareness so that you can magnetize it in. And that's a perspective I try to go at when I'm talking to people who want to do quote unquote advertising. It's, yes, you see these commercials and these traditional ideas of advertising, but it's more about who is your audience? Who can you reach? Who can you connect with that will bring you that resonance, not just for yourself, because it's not just about money. You want the right clients. You want to heal the right people. And the more you can reach people, I think the more, we can help the light worker community build. So that's my perspective on this whole ad intuitive thing.
I say it's dead on. And we've had a lot of new people advertising for the first time. Yeah, I don't really. Advertising itself is kind of a dirty word a little bit, because we've had a lot of things shoved down our throat that we didn't want or need. And you're right. I think that there's no competition, I say, with practitioners, because people are naturally drawn to who they know. They subconsciously know. Interesting. So I guess it's time to talk to non-advertise about the two of you. Daiki, what on the side? I mean, you are an astrologer as well and a life coach. How can people work with you directly?
I do one-on-one natal chart and transit chart analysis, and I also do relationship chart readings. So I will read up to 3 charts together, synastry composite, and you can find me on do-astro, do-astro.com. And you can just book a reading from there.
Yeah, terrific. And I would just, I'm not trying to age brag you, but you just really are millennial smart. You kind of keep us trendy and in the know. And I just think, you have that approach that I think other astrologers may not. So, if you vibrate with Daiki, his wisdom is there, and he just understands, which is great. And he's always giggling too. So he's a happy guy.
I'm here to be happy.
Yeah, you are. Step 1, Gemini. Happy birthday, by the way.
Yes, happy birthday, Daiki.
It's wonderful working with you. We have a good time on Mondays. We do our astrology meetings. And Jenny, you are an entrepreneur yourself, right? You've got a bunch of things. Your children's books. Tell us.
Well, so yeah, I'm an author, and what you've seen at the show is a children's astrology series, but I also do empowered women's romance, travel memoirs, humorous dating memoir, and I also wrote a poignant, emotional abuse story. So I like to dabble in different genres. I'm kind of like a manifesting generator for you human design people. I can't just be one person. So that being said, I'm also doing life coaching, and I've been a life coach for 12 years, and I'm trying out 3 new modalities that I'm offering for free for people to sign up for. And one is transformational, traditional life coaching, where if you're going through a transformation like a divorce, graduation's coming up, empty nest syndrome, all that, I work for people through that. I'm also doing Chiron reports, where I will analyze your Chiron for you to see where your wounds are. And then thirdly is my new past life trauma recovery program, where I take you through your past lives, connect them to your present lives, and see how we can work through your blocks.
Wow. Especially the Chiron being a Virgo with a Leo rising. You know, that's interesting. Actually be kind of interesting just from the two of you. I mean, what is your like biggest, you know, fact you can say about Chiron? I'd love to hear from each of you. Like what you've learned. Chiron surprised me as I grew as an astrologer, and I grew to know, and then I went through my Chiron return. I have to say it is very elusive. Yeah, it's very elusive. Yeah. What's your big takeaway about Chiron that maybe we don't know?
I mean, the big takeaway is that there's so much information that can uncover some of what we struggle with. I mean, we put a lot of emphasis on the Saturn return and everything, and it's not even about Chiron return. It's understanding how these different aspects come to connect together that even further what your healing is. Because just like your sun, like you can have your sun in the first house and have this connected, but if you don't understand that this opposes your sun or this squares your sun and has a little bit of that. So it's bringing astrology, maybe that didn't sound right, but it's basically bringing astrology from different angles to understand your wounds, and then taking it to the next level and moving through it. And so that's what it's my angle.
I like it and I agree. Daiki, what do you have to add?
Chiron. Every time I mean, not every time, but Chiron's a heavy topic every time I bring up to a reading. It's like, get ready for the tissue kind of energy, especially when I start going deep into it. And especially if anyone has like some hard planets, malefics like Mars, Pluto, Saturn on top of it, you know, it colors that whole experience. Some of you might not be so connected to Chiron if you don't have like a moon or a sun next to it. If Chiron's just on its own, you know, you're still going to have Chiron issues and Chiron themes come up. But some of you might have like a moon conjunct Chiron, and or Chiron on top of your ascendant. And so that's why you want to get a specific reading and get your natal chart looked at by us, by specialists, because, you know, just taking these planets and houses and signs, yeah, that's great to learn it, but to be able to map it all together, weave it all together, see the dynamics of how, you know, transits occur in your own way is so important in understanding even that one part about your Chiron and just how it unfolds, and being able to separate your different states of awareness so you're more clear moving forward. You know, that's what we do. So, I mean, Chiron's super hard. Chiron's super hard.
Yeah. A lot of information. Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's Virgo. I mean, it's every detail, everything that haunts you. I think it's a ruler of Virgo personally.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Sirius Joy.
Yeah, you do.
And no other astrologer would say that.
No, I'm very unique and on a limb, but it seems so obvious to me because Virgos are always aware of everything going wrong and everything going right, and they know how to heal and reassemble. But probably the biggest takeaway I learned on my Chiron return, and we'll close with this, was that I spent my entire life trying to avoid what Chiron was teaching. Like I was trying to avoid falling that trap. So it turns out to be the source of every wound. And in the step system, Chiron is I become, which means that we become our wounds and we become the healer of our wounds. And that's what's fascinating to me about Chiron. Really compelling. And even its orbit's weird, but anyways, we are over time. Thank you both for coming. Thank you for coming on. Two great lights in our life. And I look forward to our next public event. We'll have to come on and talk more.
I'm excited.
Great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you. Have a nice 3-day weekend. We'll be back to work on Tuesday. No.
Yay.
Tuesday's break. All right. Thank you both. And we'll say also it's time to wrap up the show. It was really nice for you to see the people in my life behind the scenes. I mean, some of them are in front of the camera, some of them are behind the camera, like Jenny D. She's been a stronghold in our life. We're very grateful to be of service at Sirius Joy. We'll be off the air with Namaste Today next week, but we will have AstroMingle, FYI. Everyone here on our team could just talk forever. So you see what it's like to be behind the scenes with us, but you get an idea of sort of the magic behind Sirius Joy. I have to find that my greatest joy right now is finding colleagues that I love so much and work so seamlessly with. It's the greatest gift I could ever ask for. And it's what I always wanted when I was growing up as a kid. I want to work on a great team. That's why I want to be in film. I want to be on a great team. A creative team is like a great joy. So now you see how lucky I am, right? How I keep going is because of the people I work with. Well, friends, we wish you a very happy 3-day weekend here in the United States. Enjoy that time off and enjoy yourself. We'll be back with a live AstroMingle next week. And of course, we do have the Zodiac weather up, so check that out. And you can always try out Sirius Joy. Sirius Joy. It is up and running, pep talks every morning. And like a spiritual friend you never knew you had. We text you 7 times a day, and just the messages alone will change your life. We guarantee it. SiriusJoy.com. Give it a try for $3.99. This is the time, folks, especially when they're off the air. It's going to be important. All right, until next week, we hope you have a wonderful week. I love you. Live, love, be.
It's in the stars to seriously change your life with a subscription to Sirius Joy. Sign up now for your personalized step astrology and daily pep talks. Highly predictive astrology sent via text and email. Daily zodiac weather reports. Advanced lectures, classes, edutainment series, and more. Sign up today for only $3.99 to seriously